Time to talk with us today. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Now, I got a real serious problem to talk with you about. Sony and Honda are teaming up and they're coming for Tesla. They're coming for you. I think you better take this stuff seriously.
Absolutely. I think in general, there's a lot of discussion of like this problem with that problem, and a lot of people are.
No, I'm really serious. You got to take this stuff seriously. Well, let me show you and share with everyone why I think so. Hey everyone, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. Honda and Sony have announced a partnership. They're going to be making EVs. Yes, it's a real thing, and I want to go some of the details with you. Get your thoughts. I'll share my thoughts, and well, let's jump in. Here's the deal. They're looking at 2026, and I think Tesla should be worried, but to be fair, this is a little bit down the way. So you're looking at, 3 years from now, something like that. Also, to be fair, I was thinking about this is as we're going into recession. Let's say, for example, if they were going to launch next year or the year after that, I don't think you could have the supply chain to get enough cars made anyway. And also, too, going to recession, I don't know if people are going to be wanting to buy new cars at all. It may not be that crazy of a notion to delay, or better word to say it, to be behind this late. Also, too, we'll go over some of the reasons that they say. This is saying, aside from incentives, the North American market is important for Sony, Honda mobility, and this is a quote. The reason we choose North America is because it is more advanced, and that's according to Yoshida Mizuno, and that's the CEO over at Sony Honda Mobility. So they already have a CEO that's sort of in charge of their mobility. This is a joint 50-50 thing, and they're going for level 3 and level 2 plus autonomous driving. So not going for full autonomous driving, but we've talked about this on the channel. Not that robot driving isn't the future. I think it is, but I think it's a long ways down the road, mostly due to regulations. And also, too, you could say maybe 50-50 as well, both government regulations and actually being able to do it software-wise. I think it's going to be tough. We talked about it on the channel, but I know some people have different opinions on that. I get it, guys. The thing is, I think it's really quite interesting about this is you can see here, I'll read it. The focus on software and entertainment would allow for subscription services like apps and in-car games to drive monthly or recurring revenue. Sony would be in charge of software and system components, whereas Honda would decide on the vehicle platform, powertrain, and battery technology used. So this is a true partnership, right? Sony can theoretically have a PlayStation in the car. They're going to handle all the software and things, and that's what they're good at. And also, their sort of like user interfaces on the PlayStation, stuff like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So from me, I'm an Xbox boy myself. I know that a lot of people like the Sony PlayStation. I think the online system is better on the Xbox if you like gaming. But in terms of like game selection and maybe design, maybe Sony's a little bit better on that. So that's kind of a split for me. I'm always a challenge of which one I want to go with, which game system. But I wouldn't bet against Sony here on developing good software for the car company. And this is something that car companies have always struggled with. Usually, companies, their software is not very good, Honda included. And this is something that I think is a real threat to Tesla's dominance. But we've talked about this for a long time. I think the Tesla bulls, they act like there are no other car companies in the world. And when Honda, Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, then you got BMW, Mercedes, I think some of these major brands, Volkswagen will be in the game, GM and Ford. I think it's going to be a competitive market. And this is an interesting one, though. I think Honda's sort of partnership with Sony will be good. Whoever Apple partners with, and Apple was rumored to partner with one of the Korean car makers. My understanding of the issue is that essentially Apple wanted too big of a cut of the share, which sounds like Apple, and so they couldn't get a deal done with either Kia or Hyundai. We'll see. You never know. I mean, this kind of thing, Sony and Honda. Who knows? Maybe you'll get like a official Google car coming out or something of that nature. I think Google, though, they're trying to go like Android to like fit all cars, and it was we talked about the Polestar the other day that they're using the new Google's system, and they're also teaming up with NVIDIA for their LiDAR. I think the competition is real, and this is just the concept version of the Sony Vision that came out. This was a couple years ago. Actually, no, I take that back. This was 2023, but they're evidently going to be showing their new concept in January 2023. So this is 2022, and then of this past January and this coming January, they're going to show another car. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm curious what they got in store. One of the things I think is quite interesting because I don't think people realize like how small the electric market is or how big it could be. Depends how you want to look at it. My understanding, this is just reading here. So right now, in the USA, you can see there's 250 million cars on the road in USA is how they put this. 1% are electric vehicles. So, if you're a bull, you say, oh, well, eventually all 100% will be electric. Probably, I don't know how long it'll be. According to this, though, they're saying by 2030, new car sales will be about 25-30%. And then by 2035, new car sales will be 40 to 45% electric. And then I guess, then more than half by 2050. So it's not like electric vehicles are going to completely replace regular cars. And I think a lot of it's going to be cost, right? So that's where, we talked about it several times, where I think, it's sort of like your Honda, your Toyota, your Kia, and your Hyundai will be really competitive, because these sort of, now using today's prices, like you're say, $30,000 to $40,000 range will be a competitive market. And even if you could get a lower price car like Fisker has said, if they ever actually make a car, that they'll try to price it more affordably as well. Like I said, if they ever make a car, that's always been questionable regarding Fisker. I want to take a look at this. So this is Sony's concept car. This is the vision. Again, this is just a concept. But I was looking at this stuff, and I thought it was really fascinating. I think this is not a terrible looking vehicle. Not spectacular, to be fair, right? I'll tell you if something's not spectacular, but I don't think it's terrible. I think the inside, though, looks cool. And this is all Sony's design. So when they team up with Honda of what's possible, then we'll get a better sense of it. But one thing that really stood out from Sony's designs, I don't know if you guys have seen this stuff before, is like just how much LED or digital screen, however you want to say it, touch screen, that's a better word to say, is on the dashboard. The whole dashboard is all touch screen, which I think is really interesting. And they're going with, you can see from the thing, they're going with like a very, what's hard to say, the digital, odometer. Is odometer the right word? The, the dial thing is, I think it's odometer. But that's not the right word. The gauges, that's the better word to say. They all digital gauges and stuff like that. And it'll actually be pretty cool if in the car you can, change all the customize all that stuff that you want. And this user interface, which I think having it the way that they have it on the Sony, I think is really interesting. And also too, they have it for passenger side, and then also too in the back they have these screens. Now, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this design of screens in the back was safety. I was thinking there is no way that's safe. Imagine there's a car wreck and your head's gonna hit the hit the iPad essentially, or the Sony pad. I don't know. I'd be curious your guys' thoughts on that. Airbag safety and digital screens, because guys, I like cars. I think they're cool, but I also always need to remember, like, this is a car, right? And we should be driving, not watching TV, unless theoretically eventually we get the robot drivers and we're just all watching TV and no one's paying attention to the road anyway. But I do think this is quite interesting. They have another screen down below, and one of the things I do miss though in many cars is the actual physical knobbies. I call them knobbies, I don't think this is a terrible design. You guys, you can see this thing. And this is what's up with this. They got the cup holders. You got to have cup holders in there. And it's a couple other things. There's one other thing I wanted to take a look at with this thing. Actually, it was the here was sort of the they really focused on, like, they're going to have like cool speakers and stuff in the car seats, I guess, which is kind of funny. And the other thing too, which I think is just really interesting, is like just how clean everything looks. When I was a kid, like, Sony used to be really cool, and they, I don't know, they just dropped the ball. But they may make a comeback if they focus just on the software. Because like I was saying, if you like the PlayStation kind of designs and stuff, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Yeah, see, they put the PlayStation right there. And the other thing too, which I think is interesting, is they're claiming they're going to have a good voice, and also too that they're going to make money in terms of company-wise, in terms of recurring revenue. I wonder if this is the future, because remember we talked about a story a while ago where it was like, essentially BMW, makes one car, and if you want to unlock heated seats, you got to pay like $10 a month, right? So Sony will have this kind of feature where, like, I'm sure there'll be a PlayStation built in, and maybe they'll have some sort of internet function built in, and then you pay, a monthly fee to get that unlocked. I'm not sure how people are going to feel about those kind of things, right? Paying extra for subscriptions, but I think that is the future, right? This is the software. Adobe essentially adopted that. YouTube has adopted that, where you pay like a monthly fee, and why not your car? So, I'd be curious. I mean, what they show so far, I like their designs quite a bit. I can see it right here. And like I said, look at it. If it works, right? This is all based on concept car, but, assuming they can get the software to work. And I personally think Hondas are nice cars, and the affordability, they drive well, and they're very, very reliable. Honda and Toyota have a very good track record. And then, like I said, don't discount the Korean or the even Ford or GM, cars when we turn to competition. But if Honda teaming up with Sony, I think is really a big deal. So love to hear your thoughts on this thing. Again, this is Honda and Sony are going 50-50 in the EV segment, and they're going to be it's like pre-orders in 2025. So it's still a while yet. And they're thinking delivers in 2026. So would you wait for this thing, or are you kind of person that just can't wait and you're just gonna go ahead and screw it? You're gonna buy a different brand, or will you wait for the Honda to come out with theirs? So love to hear your thoughts on this thing, and I myself am looking forward to this. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next video.